What is happening, nation? We are Nation's Corner, and I'm your host, Tony Justice. And with me tonight, I have a slew of my crew. Get it? Slew of my crew. I need to write that down. A slew of my crew. I like to write that down.
That phrase offends me.
If you know, you know. I have the one and only Debhausen. How you doing, Deb?
It's Queen Debhausen to you. I'm great. I'm good.
Cool. And I have down to my left bottom corner, the one, the only Mongrovian Mike. How's it going, brother?
What's up, my friends? How we doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. And we have coming in clutch tonight, we've got the one, the only Stephen Wyand. How you doing, brother?
That's right, Mr. Clutch coming out of the bullpen, ready to rock and roll, put the pedal to the metal, and talk some professional wrestling with the crew on the Nation's Corner. Let's go!
Hell yeah!
Frickin' go! Yes, we are doing the show tonight. Minus Front Row, who is at WrestleCade right now. So shout out to Front Row. He is doing the old hashtag Nation's Corner on location thing. So he's having a great time out there. I've been seeing some awesome pictures from him today. So it's pretty good. So if you see Front Row out there at WrestleCade, just go up to him and just say what's up. He'll appreciate it.
Still
and right now, the Super Show is happening at WrestleCade.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes, I was looking forward to the match with Matt Hardy and Jeff Jarrett. So we saw earlier that Dango and Carlito had a match. And that's all I'll say.
Cool.
All right. Just so y'all know.
Now you messed up your focus. Good job.
When I do that, that means someone needs to take a drink. Yeah. So yeah, my camera for some reason it likes to get fuzzy whenever I put something up close to it. So I don't know.
It adjusts the focus.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll deal with it. So this has been a busy week in pro wrestling. Coming off the heels of Full Gear, which was a very good pay-per-view. And it went pretty much the way I figured it would go. We got a new AEW World Heavyweight Champion in MJF. A lot of people talking about how they thought that maybe it was too soon for MJF to become the champion, but I think it's right on the money. I think it was time for him to see what he can do with it. He's, as we speak, he's on a movie set right now, which we'll get into that in a little bit. But there was some great takeaways from Full Gear. We had the return of the Elite with that awesome entrance they had with Kansas,
baby.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, so
one of the greatest songs of classic rock.
Yeah, that was an amazing pop that they got for that night. So, and we'll talk about that on when we start talking about Dynamite and on how the pop was kind of reversed when they came out in Chicago. But yeah, so we watched it on Zoom as usual with Full Gear and all, and we tuned in for the media scrum afterwards. So Deb, why don't you take us through what happened on the media scrum?
Well, first MJF came out, interrupted the introduction of the media scrum, like it hadn't even started yet. MJF just kind of runs in, basically calls everyone morons for buying into his babyface turn. Calls Tony Khan. Oh, what the heck did he call him? Mongrovian, do you remember what he called Tony Khan?
You said fucking Mark. I
don't know. But yeah, he basically said, "You're all just a bunch of marks. You really think I went babyface? Come on, you're an idiot." And then he walked away and said, "Any questions? No. All right. Thank you. Fuck you. Bye. I'm out." And then Tony Khan was like, "All right, okay, all right. Let's let's get started.
Yeah.
He kind of like did what I'd love to see like some politicians do sometimes. Just come out into the press. Any questions? I was just kidding. Fuck you.
Any questions? Nah, just kidding. What? Answer a question from you marks? Huh?
Yeah,
This is fantastic.
It was pretty great. The rest of the media scrum was, fairly uneventful for AEW media scrum standards. It's kind of normal.
Which is fine because it was your typical media scrum.
Great, yeah.
Fine.
But we did see Max Caster of the Acclaimed once again put over Create a Pro as the greatest wrestling school in the country outside of the WWE Performance Center, of course.
By the way, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, thank you for retweeting my Thanksgiving tweet. I got my whole family to scissor in the pictures. I have my mother going, with me. Believe me, they don't know wrestling. They don't know wrestling. They don't know anything. I just had on my Acclaimed shirt and I just said, this is the tag team right here. So I just had my whole family, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law. They're all in their 80s and they're all scissoring with me.
And that's what it's all about.
That's what it's
all about.
Well,
it's
fun. They got a lot of views already on it.
Yeah. So shout out to the Create a Pro team. We've come to love everyone at Create a Pro, appreciate them. And it's just absolutely clear lately that the best talent really does come out of the Northeast.
They just regurgitate talent. That's all they do. It's like
shout out.
They got the talent shits.
Shout out to Michael Riker in the chat. What's up, Michael?
Mike! What's up, man?
How about La Greca at a Busted Open Nation members' wedding on the night of Survivor Series? That's a total La Greca thing to do.
Yes, La Greca and Violetta are in New Orleans for Nick's wedding. Mm-hmm. Nick and his lovely fiance and invited the La Grecas, so they're down in New Orleans having fun.
Yeah,
so good for them.
Thanksgiving wedding weekend.
Yeah. Shout out to Nick Treadway. Congratulations on your marriage, brother. We wish you a long and prosperous marriage. May you be happy and healthy for a long time to come. So y'all have fun down there in the New Orleans. The Big Easy, yeah.
I'm married 35 years, so hey, have fun. Hey.
Yeah.
No, I've never been married, so gee, wonder why.
Yeah, I've been married one time, and I don't.
And
know
one
if
time was enough
again.
for you.
I don't know if it'll happen again. I don't know. I'll be honest with you.
Anywho.
So talking about the media scrum into let's talk about Dynamite. Let's just go right on into Dynamite on Wednesday. Dynamite started with Regal standing in the middle of the ring. Regal turned on the Blackpool Combat Club at the end of Full Gear. That's why MJF is your champion now, because Regal slipped in the brass knucks and MJF used them. So now we have Regal standing in the middle of the ring, and here comes Mox out through the crowd and gets in the ring. And for some reason, Bryan Danielson comes just sprinting down to the ring, gets in between them and starts pushing Mox away, and finally gets the mic and says that, this is my mentor. He's done some bad things, but we've all done some bad things, and kind of makes Mox stop in his tracks. But Mox, visibly was red. Like you could tell, the complexion of his skin, he was just red. Like you could tell he was pissed.
Beat red.
Beat red. Yeah. And I don't understand this part, but Bryan Danielson was talking to him, and all of a sudden he just slaps the shit out of him. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I regretted it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It wasn't."
That didn't make sense to me. Like it got that part that the segment kind of got
too long, a little convoluted.
Yes, I don't think there was a reason for Bryan Danielson to be out there. I don't know. He just didn't seem right. And then Mox grabs the mic, tells Bryan to get out of his way. he gets right up in Regal's face and says, I want you to run, and I want you to run far away and never come back. And I'm kind of wondering, when I saw that, I was kind of wondering, I was like, well, I've heard, I don't know because I'm not there, but I've heard that he only had a 1-year contract with AEW. So I'm wondering, are they writing off Regal off of AEW television, or is this part of the story? What do y'all think about that?
I think it's just part of the story right now because I looked it up just to confirm because I couldn't quite remember, but Regal debuted in AEW in March. So I have seen multiple people say that, he just signed a 1-year deal as of now. So it seems like he's going to be there at least until March, and unless something drastic happens. So I think right now it's just part of the story. We'll see where it goes with the Blackpool Combat Club. But there's definitely some turmoil there. I don't know if the Blackpool Combat Club is going to, just completely dissolve, or if it's going to transition into something else. Who knows? Who's to say?
I think.
Who's to say?
Go ahead.
I think Brian running out there was because otherwise it would be like, why didn't Mox hit him? So
right.
Maybe Danielson had to go out there just to be the in between guy, just to be the one that talks Mox into not smashing his face because everybody wanted it, and that's about all I could think about on that. It was a little question, but
yeah,
that seems like that there, just to get in between him and Lord Regal. We'll see where it goes from here. I don't see him leaving. I see this giving a little bit of twist and turns to the Blackpool Combat Club, just give it a little bit,
right,
bit more of a story than 4 guys that beat the crap out of everybody till they bleed,
Yeah.
Give it a little more of a nuance, and little by little you see that, and of course, with William Regal at the helm and those guys, master storytellers, I'm sure we'll see Wheelie Yuta stick out a little more, and please, right now, don't put the mic in Claudio's hand. Let Regal speak for him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love Claudio in the ring, but I don't need to hear him cut some promo like that he did last night. Or
that was.
Well, should I say yesterday afternoon?
Yeah, yesterday afternoon. Yeah, I saw that. It was pretty painful to watch, just being honest. Steven, what were your thoughts on it?
So I got where they were going with the segment at first when Regal was out there doing, running them down, and then Moxley comes out, and then the Danielson thing, I kind of got it at first, but it just the slap to the face, when nothing happened, that was questionable.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of repeating the same lines 2 or 3 times. I'm like, okay, we get it. The segment just dragged on too long than it should have been. If they would have just kept it under a couple of minutes, I think the segment would have gone off fine. It's just that it just got jumbled up. I'm like, okay, it starts out good. And then Danielson coming out, and I understand he put him over as his mentor. I got that because Regal was a huge part in Danielson's second run with the WWE. He may have not been his trainer, but he was Danielson's mentor. And I got that. But it just, what I would have done is as far as the story goes, I would have had the rest of the guys at the BCC, Moxley, Danielson, Yuta, and Claudio come together as brothers. And they said to Mox, look, brother, we know this is wrong. What Regal did was messed up, but we got your back, and all this stuff. I don't like where this is going right now. And I know it's early. I know it's early on, but I just think that they should have had the BCC sticking together, and then maybe down the road Danielson could have turned heel, but not so soon. I think the heel turn is it's coming. Just don't know when it's gonna fully happen. But I think his heel turn is way too soon. I mean, I got it, but didn't get it. I mean, it was too long.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
like a song that just kept going and going and going. There was no change. And then when the
Yeah.
change finally comes, it's like, oh, okay, it's just there. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah. There it is.
so good. Yeah. So can you imagine if Stairway to Heaven, you know, the way it built up and it just went to a like instead of the awesome thing that it is, and then if it just went to a you know,
Could you
then it would have been
imagine that,
to
like,
just a
this
stairway to
song's been going
whatever.
on for 6.5 minutes, not 4, 6.5, and there's no change up coming? Oh. That's all that we get.
That would be a chairway to heaven. Would be the
A stairway to whatever.
yeah.
Stairway to
Whatever.
whatever.
Chairway to
Whatever.
So you know, so we'll see what happens with the Blackpool
to
Combat
no
Club and all that.
cell.
So,
God,
how about the House of Black, y'all?
dude, that was awesome.
How
That
about
was
it?
Yeah.
amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, I loved when Dominic and Rhea went in there into Rey Mysterio's house. Oh wait, that's different. Wait. That's not
What are
the
you
house.
talking?
that
We're not
house.
talking about that
Oh,
yet.
sorry, that's
Not-
the other House of Black.
I didn't say
Sorry.
Ray's house. I said the House of Black.
I'm messing around. saying
Wow.
the
Good
similarities.
Lord.
I was tongue in cheek.
Okay. Wow.
You're in the wrong chat.
Ah!
But I mean, they came out and handled business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did.
They came out and just handled everybody, not just, you know, Orange Cassidy and them. They handled everyone out there, and that's the way I wanted to see them. Just come out and just kick ass.
Oh yeah. Oh
So-
yeah.
Yeah.
And Julia
Yeah,
just
I'm-
standing up there in the middle of the ramp, just standing there. You know, that was an awesome visual to see
Oh yeah.
all the lights go out and then just see her, and then then they were in the ring already. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I know Sean, our House of Black member. I know he popped for that too. So
Oh yeah.
shout out to.
Well,
shout out to
I
Sean.
had tagged him in Discord then because he was summoned. They said a House of Black rise. I'm like,
Rise.
come on, you've been summoned. Come on.
Yeah. Stand up, mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really, oh my God, I'm so happy to see them back. You know, we know that there's a little, you know, turmoil with Malachi for a little bit. You know, he had to take a little breather.
Yeah.
But I really hope that they, you know, come back and just, you know, just kick ass. Like, don't mess around with it this time. Just, you know, this
go out and do
needs
the
to be
job.
done right. It's now or never.
Yeah.
I will agree with you that Julia coming out was really cool. I know a lot of us were kind of unsure about Julia in the House of Black. We were used to seeing her as the, you know, the preppy blonde cheerleader. I loved the dark look on her initially, but, you know, we were kind of unsure of how she was going to do in that kind of character, but I'm hopeful for it. She looked super badass.
Mm-hmm.
Just standing out there by herself to when the lights came on. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good. Hopefully.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll see. I wanted to touch on, just talk about the elephant in the room, talking about the announcement that was made. Renee came out and made an announcement about the women's division. And basically, you know, the interim titles being taken away, and they had Thunder relinquish the AEW Women's World Championship, which, you know, I think that is a good move. But the bad move that I think, and it's just my opinion, and I want to get y'all's opinions on it too, is the way it was handled. I feel like Thunder should have came out and gotten the opportunity to hand the belts over and say a few words on the mic or something to that effect, rather than just the way they did it. What are your thoughts on it, Mongrovian?
Well, she never had a chance. When she first came out, she never even had a chance to do the initial, when they come out and they win their first championship and out in the ring and be greeted, and get the "you deserve it" chance. She didn't get none of that. Right off the bat, she's backstage, gets interrupted. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that we love Nyla and well, not so much Vicky, but we love Nyla. We got the love the cake and violence bitch, but but besides that, who cares? She should have been able to address. So right from the beginning, it was that, and then of course, Britt and her stooges, and never ever putting her over as credible, always saying she doesn't belong there.
Yeah.
And it's really a bunch of, it's really a bunch of bull. And when the interim thing started with Cody, shouldn't have been there, it should never be unless they know they have they have a broken nail or something, or they'll be out for 2 weeks. If they're not going to be back within a month, then there should be no such thing as this interim bullshit.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's just totally idiotic, and I hated it from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's just, she's gone, and she's still, they all, people, the dirt sheets talking shit about her, so the dirt sheets can all go to effing hell, first off. But I just hope she gets better and just comes back, and it would have been better if she was able to relinquish it in the middle of the ring and tell the fans,
or even send in a video.
Yeah.
If she can't be there on purpose for whatever reason, if the travel is too difficult, we obviously know she's at WrestleCade today. But if she couldn't have been there in person, at least she could have sent in a video. Like, they haven't basically allowed her to speak for pretty much her entire championship reign. She has been disrespected from the start. They never treated her like a champion. So the whole thing is bullshit. I mean, we all agreed that the interim thing was bullshit. None of us really liked that idea from the start. Which we all agreed that the interim thing needed to go away, but I agree with you, Tony, that I don't like the way that it was handled at all. Thunder didn't even get to speak to relinquish her title. It was just basically stripped of her without her being allowed to speak for herself. Yeah, she posted something on Twitter, but that was like after the fact. Like they could have at least had her just send in a short video so at least she could speak for herself and address the fans.
And even as we notice, and as Brian points out to us, she's out how long now? And she's still in everybody's fucking mouth. So
exactly.
She's still living rent free in certain people in that locker room. She's still living rent free in their heads.
Right.
She's still fodder for these fucking dirt sheet assholes. But you know what? She's still got the fucking Thunder Army behind her. And we're gonna lift her up. We're gonna lift her up and bring her home, and that's what's gonna happen. And there ain't nothing these motherfuckers can do about it. The Thunder Army's coming, and she's gonna be right in front, and she's gonna come back. And the Thunder is gonna it's gonna be for real. It's gonna, like she said. Let me tell you something. Something is coming.
Something is coming. Yeah.
And it's gonna be and it ain't gonna be messing around.
I do think that more people are kind of starting to see the situation as far as how Thunder had been treated from the start and the glaring issues that are holding back the women's division AEW. My tweet that I posted on Wednesday night after that happened, last time I checked, it was up to like 15,000 impressions, with pretty much everyone except for one particular troll agreeing that Thunder has been disrespected from the very beginning, and that there's a clear issue that's holding back the women's division. Yeah. So I hope she comes back. I hope she comes back with a vengeance and she kicks some ass and breaks some teeth.
Yep. Shout out to Brian in the chat. So, Steven, what are your thoughts on it, brother?
I am personally, I'm glad that the interim tag is no more, because that was getting old real quick. I mean, like, there should have never been an interim champion to begin with in any of the men's, or women. First it was with the men and obviously with the women's belt. and it just made the belts not significant. You know, it just and now that the interim label is gone forever, thankfully, now we can finally get back to hopefully getting these belts, you know, back to where they mean something, you know. And I do agree that maybe I think Thunder could have done like a video of saying, unfortunately, guys, I'm out longer than I thought I was going to be. So unfortunately, due to that, I'm going to have to relinquish the belt, and Jamie is your champion. And then they could have gone.
Yeah, and she's putting and in the process of her doing that, it's her putting over Jamie as the actual champion. That would have been a win-win. Win-win. Exactly. So all the interim title did, and it's Tony Khan's fault for doing it in the first place. It's not Thunder's fault at all.
Right.
But
he did it with Cody.
All Tony Khan did was hurt that women's division by doing that interim tag on that championship. So I'm happy that it's gone away. I wish it was handled differently, but all we can hope for is when Thunder does come back, she comes back with a vengeance and kicks ass, and I know she will. So anyway, we're gonna see Thunder in a couple of weeks, so we'll get to tell all this to her in person. So shout out to Thunder. Get well.
I just want to point out, you know, Neil said as bad as I feel for Thunder, I'm happy for Jamie.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. But I think unfortunately Jamie, even though she's, you know, named the new champion, she's suffering from the situation as well, because nobody's talking about her in this situation, and she didn't even get to speak. Like, she had just gotten named the champion, and she wasn't even allowed to speak to the fans.
Kind of reminds me of another situation that happened when Thunder won the championship. She came out to do her first promo, and who spoke? Vicky Guerrero interrupted her and wouldn't let Thunder talk on the mic. So it's kind of a running gag going on at AEW, I think. But anyway.
Yeah. So I just think I think that there's, you know, there's the elephant in the room that is overshadowing the people who are actually the champion.
Yeah. Steve had a good point in the live chat. I would love to see a best of 7 between Thunder and Hater. It could end in them earning the respect of one another. Then Thunder Hate is born.
Thunder Hate? Oh, I kind of like that.
Look at the big brain.
Oh, yeah, that sounds
metal. Check out the big brains on you, bro.
Yeah. Ashley saying, I mean, let's be honest, that only way he killed the women's division. So, I mean, it's obvious, you know, he doesn't have any respect for the women's division, period. I mean, I'm just saying, it's my opinion, you know.
And it's a valid opinion for sure. You know, we see every week on Dynamite and Rampage, the women have like one segment, sometimes not even a match, sometimes just a backstage promo, and that's it. Like, it's not right.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I want to touch on because we've got to move along here. We've got to get to the Survivor Series stuff. We want to get off the show, you know, right at around 7, so people can get their stuff ready for the pay-per-view, because it's on right after we go off the air. So anyway, I wanted to touch on the Tales from the Territories episode that aired on Tuesday. And it was on World Class Championship Wrestling, which is something that I grew up around because I'm obviously live in Texas. And I've gone to a WCCW house show. And actually, when we were in WrestleMania back in Dallas, back in April, me and Chad from Albany and Chris from Baltimore, we all went to the actual site of where the Sportatorium used to be. And we got to see the grounds that it used to sit on. It's torn down now, but we took a picture at the site, which was pretty cool. We actually went to the Von Erich's grave site at the cemetery and took pictures with the grave sites. Yeah, so it was a special moment for me. And I know Chris loves the Von Erichs as well. And it was just a very touching moment for us to be able to do that. And I'm glad that some of my crew was there to experience that with me. I know Deb would have loved to have been there too, but she was still in the air at that point because her and Seth were on their way down there. So we were just killing time and decided to go do all that stuff. And
Well, we went to the
but
cemetery with you. You had just gone to
yeah,
we
Yeah.
did that another time.
right.
But yeah, you guys were just killing time until my plane landed and you went to the sportatorium site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Tales from the Territories, it's an amazing show that comes on every week. The Rock produces it. And they just go over different territories. They've done, you know, Georgia Championship Wrestling. They've done the Florida. They've done Memphis. They've done Puerto Rico. They've done Polynesian. And this week was on WCCW. And so watching that, it brought back a lot of memories for me. I want to share a memory with y'all. After we went to the house show, which Kevin Von Erich and his youngest brother, Chris Von Erich, was there. And Kerry was already in the WWF at that point. So it was just Kevin and Chris. And so after the show was over, of course, World Class Championship Wrestling had Iceman King Parsons and, had a bunch of other Chris Adams. And his wife's name was Tony Adams. Those that know me very well know that's my real name, Tony Adams. And his wife's name was Tony Adams, Tony with an I. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, so after the matches, me and my mom, my sister, and my best friend, we left the gym where they were at. And so we went to a family restaurant called Herschel's across town. It was on our way home. So we pulled in there, and of course we got out of the car, and there was a mob of people outside. That was one of the most popular restaurants in Palestine at that point. And so we go inside the restaurant, and lo and behold, Kevin Von Erich, Chris Von Erich, Iceman King Parsons, Action Jackson was another wrestler there, all walked in behind us. And you can imagine the mob of people that tried to come in there when that happened, but the manager was forced to lock the doors so no one else could come in. So those that were in the restaurant were in the restaurant. And we got to sit, not only were we in there with Chris Von Erich, Kevin Von Erich, Iceman King Parsons, and Action Jackson, but we got to sit with him at their table. Me, my mom, my sister, and my best friend all sat with him. And I sat right next to Kevin Von Erich.
Wow.
And just, you can imagine, I mean, y'all know in this group, y'all know how I act around Sting. Y'all know he's my...
Right.
Well, Kevin Von Erich is right up there with Sting.
Yeah.
And so that to have that moment and share that moment is something I'll never forget. Fast forward to about 2 years ago, I was cleaning out a room in my old house. I was moving into this house, actually. And I ran across my autographed Kevin Von Erich picture. It's up on my wall. And also my Chris Adams picture, which is right underneath it up there. And I took a picture of him and put it on Twitter. And Kevin Von Erich saw those pictures. He DM'd me. He told me how he appreciated me posting those pictures. He told me that he missed Chris Adams because Chris Adams is no longer with us. And not only did he DM me, but he followed me on Twitter. So that was like, oh my God, I was like, I can't believe he's following me on Twitter. And now he's not even on Twitter anymore because of something else. I'm not going to get into that, but anyway,
because he's following you.
Yeah, that's probably how I got kicked off. Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to share those stories with y'all because of that happening on Tales from the Territories this past week. So
yeah. I want to say I really like this Tales of the Territories show just because I'm from a different generation. I never watched territory wrestling. I was never exposed to it, and especially being from the Northeast, I was really never exposed to the wrestling in the Texas territory. So I had never heard of the Von Erichs until their episode of Dark Side came out. And that episode was fascinating, learning about the family history and everything that happened. So, I don't have the emotional connection you have just because it's not what I grew up with. It's not like, my childhood. You guys have that connection from your childhood. But, right. Obviously I respect and understand the history and the significance that Von Erichs and WCCW have to wrestling. I really cherish the memory of when we went to the cemetery to their family graves when we were in Dallas in April. It was something that, very few people get to do is to kind of be like overwhelmed with the significance of history of something, even as a younger fan, like just to experience those things, that was special. That was a special moment, and to experience it with you and Chris, who have that strong emotional connection to it. That was cool for me.
Yeah. Mongrovian?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a special time when you see that wrestling at the WCCW. One of the greatest things is the little thin rope that was the barricade holding the rabid fans from the Von Erichs and whoever, and I mean, it really was amazing, and it did. They stayed on the other side of that little rope.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, when you say Chris wrote in the chat that you go to the Peacock and you have the extra added value of having the Pearl Ehrlich soundtrack to go with that. So when you see Kevin Von Erich come out, it's not to stranglehold, it's to doop doop doop.
Sounds like 8-bit Nintendo music. What the hell?
I love you, brother.
Steven, what are your thoughts on WCCW, brother?
Oh man, like I love learning about the history of professional wrestling, especially different eras and different territories and stuff like that. Like especially around Massachusetts and New York and Texas and all that stuff. And WCCW was it was a hot company, for a long time, in the 80s, and just if you lived in the Texas area, you were talking about the Von Erichs and the Freebirds.
Yeah.
And
yes, sir.
Yeah. Just so cool hearing these stories. And if you haven't checked out this series, check it out. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and not only that, hey Steven, you know what? Well, I gotta bend Brian's ear when we go to Texas in less than 2 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
Week and a half away or so. Oh boy. Yeah, I can't wait. We're gonna bend his ear on some wrestling history there in Texas, because there's a lot of rich wrestling history, and like we put over Creative Pro here on the island, there in Texas. Mission Pro Wrestling. Brian's got his eye out for some of the best freaking talent out there.
Absolutely.
All the women, every match is like a banger when you watch a Mission Pro Wrestling event. He's always out finding new talent, and it's a positive place. You never hear any of the talent badmouth anybody, except for JP, but whatever.
That's Snake.
So you bringing up that rope, Elder, the rope that separated the fans from the ring.
Yeah.
It reminded me of another story I want to share really quick, but we got to move on after this to go to talk about Survivor Series because we're getting close to the end of the hour. Okay, so there was a woman wrestler, and I cannot remember her name, but she came out and had a manager. She was about the size of Genocide. She had tassels on her arms like the Ultimate Warrior. She had her face painted kind of like the Ultimate Warrior. Had almost the same design on her face. And she came out, and of course, me as a kid at an independent wrestling show, I talked a lot of shit. And so I was basically Sean at Mission Pro last year, talking crap to the Renegade Twins. Well, that was me back in the early 90s.
What about Neil's friend when we were at ECW Arena? I remember Neil's friend.
Yeah.
No, what about Savage? What about Savage? Right from that ball. Get back! Get back!
So Anyway, she gets in the ring, right? And I'm talking shit. I'm standing up. I'm yelling. My mom was sitting behind me and she was tugging on my shirt, trying to get me to sit down. And I was just up talking crap. She comes up to me. She gets out of the ring and walks right up to that rope. Right up to the rope. I'm standing on this side of the rope. But she comes right up to me and she's in my face. And she's got her finger in my face. My mom is pulling me like, sit down, Tony, sit down. And so she gets in the ring, and every move she did to this poor soul in the ring she was wrestling, she was pointing at me and just give me the death stare. She would do a move, and then she'd point at me, give me the death stare. And my mom thought I was going to get my ass kicked that night. But yeah, that I don't even remember her name. I don't even remember the girl's name, but it was just I talked a lot of shit that night.
Oh,
so yeah,
fantastic,
it was pretty good.
That is great.
Real quick before we go on to Survivor Series, I do want to talk about a couple of things on SmackDown real quick. I mean, first of all, that Bray Wyatt promo last night was awesome. I mean, and I loved how Bray was acknowledging his past, characters and stuff. Oh, you want the monster, huh? You want the Fiend. And I can tell Bray wants to be himself. He wants to be a man, but there's something that's keeping him from being a man, and it's really, and just, it's so intriguing what they're telling, the story they're telling with this. It's really cool. And, oh, and Deb, you brought up a good point in the topics that Ronda and Shayna are just badasses. Like,
hell yeah, they are.
They are the badasses that they should have been when they stepped foot in the WWE. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they Ronda and Shayna, it's like it's about time. Like, I don't know why they haven't been put in this place before. It's about time, and I know most of us are really happy to see that. See them kicking ass and just like breaking people,
wrecking people, especially Shotzi last night. I mean, coming in the back and beating the crap out of her. I'm like, man, this is good. Just two badass women, just take no prisoners, take no shit is basically their attitude, and
don't take any shit.
Shout out to Megadeth.
Yes. What do you mean a shout out to Megadeth, huh? But no. Another cool thing was Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio attacking Rey. And I'm like, oh boy, this reminds me of back old school days, when wrestlers used to invade people's homes, and just beat the crap out of them in their own home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
awesome. I really enjoyed that. It felt very, very, attitude era, old school, like home invasion, Brian Pillman.
Undertaker and Paul Bear's home.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. We hered Mark Henry on Busted Open this morning going, just call the police. What are you doing? Just call the police.
I don't like calling Dave.
Yeah.
I loved everything about it.
Yeah, and not to mention the return of Becky Lynch yesterday.
Yes. Oh, that was great.
The man.
The man is
yes.
back. The
man.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, and that's a perfect segue into our.
But when you leave work pregnant to have a baby, you're not supposed to come back 20 pounds lighter than before you were ever even pregnant.
She's doing that CrossFit shit, man.
It doesn't work that way in real life. What the heck?
Well, and another person. Shout out to another woman who just had a baby and came back looking better than ever. Is Lacey Evans?
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes, Chris, I did say the police.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. This is not the police.
And Chris Pillman Jr., he was literally just on the WrestleCade show on Title Match Network. You should have been watching it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, we did say the po-po.
Maybe Front Row will get her a good picture of Brian Pillman Jr.
I bet he probably did. We'll have to ask.
So, perfect segue into our Survivor Series. Going to run down the card. Deb, why don't you run down the card?
All right.
Survivor Series.
War games.
War game.
War
War
games.
games. You
War
got
games.
it. You got it. All right. So we got I'll start from the bottom to the top. A.
That's what.
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
So we got AJ Styles and Finn Balor.
Yes.
Then we got the U.S. Championship match with Seth Rollins, Lashley, and Austin Theory. We got the SmackDown Women's Championship match with Ronda and Shotzi. All right, then War Games. We got the men's War Games with the Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes. With KO, kind of with the Brawling Brutes there. And the women's War Games, we got Team Bianca, Alexa, Asuka, Mia Yim, and Becky against Team Bailey, Damage Control, Bailey, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, Nikki Cross, and Rhea Ripley. Like what a card, man. 5 matches, 2 of them are War Games. We're finally getting War Games on the main roster.
And it's a Survivor Series? Yes, please.
Yes. I just want to mention before we get into your guys' opinion, this entire card smells of Dusty Rhodes' stamp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So Dusty Rhodes' legacy is all over the main roster right now. And I'm happy to see it. He did good.
And what's also cool is the fact that War Pigs is the theme song for
Yes!
Survivor Series.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who did that? What was her name?
Yeah.
Used to talk like, yes. Maria Menounos. Yeah.
Oh, I love
Yes,
Maria
no,
Menounos. I like her a lot.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
Anywho, so yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on not only card but who you think are gonna win?
I
Steve,
think,
we'll start with you.
Go, Steve.
I think the Bloodline is going to win. I think Ronda's going to retain. I think maybe Team Bianca wins the women's War Games match. I think Seth retains the belt.
Okay.
And then what
about AJ and Finn?
And I think Finn wins some. I think Finn wins with some shenanigans.
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 All right, Elder.
Oh God, let me think. With the war games, I think Alexa's gonna turn in the war games.
Ooh.
I think he's gonna do a kind of a Dakota Kai kind of thing, like what Dakota did to who's the other Kiwi?
Oh, when she turned in NXT.
Yeah.
I can't remember who she turned on.
I can't remember.
Someone will
Giggity.
remind us in there, but in the chat. But
Neil
anyway,
will know.
I think she's going to turn all of that, that way. Where, and then I think the women's match is going to pretty much kick ass. Even though as critical as we've been and people have been about Damage Control, this is a whole different thing. Because just remember, like we're critical of Damage Control, but we always said, you know what, they had pretty good matches.
Yeah.
So like with all these women in the cage, it's gonna be crazy. I think with Shotzi and Ronda, obviously there's gonna be some shenanigans.
Neil did know. Tegan Knox. Thank you.
Finn Balor and AJ.
That's why we pay him.
Finn Balor and AJ. I'd say they need. Finn needs that group needs the win more. They got to keep ascending. The Brawling Brutes against the ones, the Usi. I don't know if things are going to go too Usi for the for the head of the table and the rest of the. It's not going to be too much ooziness oozing around that ring tonight because I see the Brawling Brutes coming out on top. And
yeah, we
I
don't
just
need to
hope they
see any
stretch out
oosies
that
oozing.
Sami Zayn. I hope they stretch out Sami Zayn. They planted the seed now, but I hope they pull back. I hope they pull back on it and let it ferment a little more, let it sizzle, simmer, whatever, and let it go till WrestleMania. And I want to see Sammy and KO going for the unified tag team belts.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yes, Neil, we pay you in beer and love.
Yes.
I think Sammy and KO should get the belts at Mania.
Destroy.
Speaking of that, my mind is still blown that Bully saying destroy is from Dragon Ball Z. You guys have absolutely no idea how many times I tried to Google it. But like, what do you Google? Destroy? Like, I don't know.
I think he was saying that as he was kicking the shit out of Alexander the other day.
Me and Steve
destroyed his wife.
I think it was Steve. He sent me a YouTube link the other day. That was a couple of weeks back. Where he thought the destroy came from Lost in Space, an old episode of Lost in Space. I think it was where the robots was trying to attack and he was going destroy. It was, old school.
Cadence the way. Yeah, I understand what he's saying. That's Robbie the robot went around destroy.
Yeah.
Warning.
Yes. See, you're old enough to remember that.
Yeah,
of course he is.
But no, Seth is a big Dragon Ball Z fan, and I played that clip for him, and his mind was blown too. He said he's gonna have to, go back and find that episode and watch it. But Bully definitely did know his shit as far as the characters and everything, so I believe him.
Hey, speaking about stuff like that, Deb, you're better equipped with Seth and everything. You want to give a little rest in peace to the green Power Ranger.
Yes, Jason David Frank.
Yeah. I'm not nearly as big of a fan of Power Rangers as Seth is, but we were pretty devastated to hear the news that Jason David Frank had passed away. He was a regular on the con circuit, and so we had hoped. I know Chad said he's seen him so many times recently at cons. We had hoped
the voice of Batman.
Yeah. Seth is such a big fan of the Green Ranger that on our living room wall right over here next to me, we have the Dragon Zord on like a wall mount with next to it a print of the Green Ranger in the style of Japanese art that I custom framed back when I was still doing custom framing.
Wow.
A close friend of ours, it was I think the first year that Seth and I were together, a close friend of ours bought the print for him. He actually had shared a picture of it on Facebook, like that he saw it, scrolling through his feed and thought it was cool. She bought it for him, sent it to me, and I framed it. So there's a $350 custom framed print of the Green Ranger on our wall right over there. Yeah, R.I.P. Tommy. It's rough to hear about your childhood heroes being gone.
Especially because
a lot of people were devastated about the voice of Batman too. Someone could smart me up his name, the character. He was
I'm not sure
that just recently passed away, but it just because we all frequent these conventions and meet and greets. We know Chad goes to meet all of these people, a ton of these people all the time, him and Danielle.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you meet these people who are your childhood heroes and then they pass away suddenly, and this guy was very, very young.
Yeah, he was 46, I think.
49.
You know what? When you go to a convention, shell out a couple of dollars, meet a couple of people and support them
Growing up,
they do this for us.
90s, I was a huge Power Rangers fan growing up as a kid, and Jason was one of the main reasons why I loved that series. I mean, just his acting, his the character, he conveyed the emotions. Such a great guy, you know, and heard a lot of great things about Jason, you know, at these cons, that he was very personable with fans and he was very cool, very, very nice to fans. And he always had a line, man, no matter where he went. And just rest in peace to Jason. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the great things that you've done, you know, bringing all of us fans things that we can, you know, will be in our hearts for the rest of our lives, and just, you know, just being a super cool guy, and, you know, and living your dream, and a hell of a martial artist too.
Yeah.
Kevin Connery was the voice of
Kevin
Batman.
Connery,
Thank
yes.
you, R.A.
Kevin Connery. Yep. I was sitting here trying to think of it, but
You should have Googled it.
Yeah, well,
You know,
You blew it. Should have Googled it.
should have Googled it. Y'all know how much I love my Google machine.
I'm not too quick on the uptake.
Before. Oh, whoa, we still on the air. Sorry.
Well, I was going to go through my predictions right quick, but it doesn't matter. We've got enough coverage on Survivor Series. It's about to come on anyway, so we had better get out of here and get people ready to go get their snacks and stuff so they can get comfortable and watch Survivor Series. So,
Seth just went out to get the pizza and wings. So
all right.
Then.
So, Steven, where can people find you on the socials?
Well, you can find me on the old Twitter machine at Steven_Wyand, and you can also find me live on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific time on the West Coast, doing our Nation Sports Show. You can follow us on Twitter at ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and also smash that subscribe button. Huddle up, get on the YouTube, and hit that subscribe button to our Nation Sports Show, and catch us as we are hot and heavy still in the NFL regular season, and week number 12 is upon us tomorrow after the wild, insane Thanksgiving games from Thursday evening and night. And
how about them Cowboys?
Yes, they absolutely got a huge victory on Saturday. They still suck. Yes, they did. Thank you very much. The Bills won a really good game against Detroit. The Vikings won a close game against the Patriots, and we will be having our recaps on the wild action for week 12, the NFL, and more this Tuesday on a Nation Sports Show. And once again, thanks for having me on the show with y'all. It's always fun.
Heck yeah, Clutch. You come in clutch, man. That's what it's all about. Elder or Tommy, whichever, you're eating over there, but how can people follow you on the socials?
Nah, I thought we were starting the party. Here you go.
Half wipe.
Just follow me anyway. I'm on there. I'm TikToking. You know,
you're TikToking.
Hopefully, you know, he might be retiring soon. I'm gonna teach him how to TikTok. We'll be the two oldest fucks on TikTok. But find me on Mongrovian Mike.
Heck yeah.
Survivor Series, baby. Who's pumped for it, man?
I'm
Who's pumped for
Let's
Survivor
go.
Series, baby? I'm doing my savage now, damn it! Tony! Do you watch
That's so debonair. That's so debonair on Twitter and Instagram. And Neil says, "What's Google?" I don't know. Google it.
Google it.
He'll kill me.
Don't fuck with our queen.
That's right. And y'all can find me at Tony Justice, AJFA. And if you're a Metallica fan, like I know all four of us are, and I know a bunch of people are, you know what that means. Ooh,
yeah.
I want to thank y'all for joining us tonight. Go enjoy Survivor Series, and we'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace out.